Hello everybody, this is Ken Tucker with Painter SEO by Changescape Web. Today we are going to be talking about the ultimate online marketing plan for painters, and it's going to be a pretty big picture overview of all of the things that you need to be considering if you are interested in having your business findable online. So in order to have a dominant web presence, there are a lot of different things that you need to do. But wow, wouldn't it be nice if you had just a constant stream of people who were calling your business or filling out forms online, and in a way that you could actually track and see if the marketing investment that you're making is actually working. Well, that's really what we try to accomplish when we help people understand what all is required for an effective overall online presence. So what we're going to cover is really just the most important set of online marketing tactics that pertain to your painting business. How to get ranked on page 1 for Google for the important painting keywords. A proven strategy to help you show up on the Google Map results, which is a really valuable piece of property online. It's usually going to show above any of the organic search results right underneath the paid ads, so it's really prime real estate. And then just a process of how you can leverage social media, how you can take advantage of reputation and online reviews, and really with the objective of how you can grow your business by having people find you and contact you online. So, the internet has become really a major force for the way people find businesses online. And this is it's continually changing, and it's accelerating, I think, in a lot of ways in terms of how this all works. But the majority of people are going to be going online and looking for painting services. And so from that perspective, if you're looking to grow your business and have a steady stream of customers contacting you, it's probably a pretty important thing to think about how you can make yourself findable for the literally thousands and thousands and thousands of searches that people are doing for painters online. So who am I? Well, my name is Ken Tucker, as I mentioned before, and we're excited to be a PDCA friend sponsor. I've personally been doing digital marketing since 2008. I've spoken to numerous groups on topics, really the whole spectrum of digital marketing, including SEO, social media, web design, lead generation, sales funnels, things like that. I'm a duct tape marketing certified consultant, actually a master consultant. And what I like about that is that's a small business marketing system, and it's actually a marketing system that you can implement and monitor and measure. So that's really fantastic. Also happen to be an SEO for Growth certified consultant, and I have a bunch of other marketing certifications. And some of my colleagues in Painter SEO have some additional or some of the same certifications that I have. We're a Google partner, an Active Campaign certified consultant, and a WP Engine agency partner. So WP Engine is a world-class WordPress hosting platform. We're proud to be an agency partner with them. Active Campaign is a fantastic marketing automation, email marketing, and CRM platform. And being a Google partner, we're a Google partner based on the activity and the volume of ad spend, Google ad spend that we manage for our clients. I've authored some books, have one on the way, and I've been doing this, like I said, since 2008, and I've had my company since 2005. So some of our qualifications, just again, a couple of other of these that you'll see here are we've got some certifications for copywriting, for a sales funnel expertise. A sales funnel is really it's a traffic generator driving traffic to a landing page that's designed to convert to get people to take a call to action, to give you information that you can nurture them through their buyer's journey from awareness to consideration to conversion. And then we've also been selected as a top SEO agency and a top web design agency by UpCity for 2019. Some of the publications. So we are in the final throes of making a couple of tweaks on the digital marketing for painters book that we'll be able to provide you if you're interested. I've also written a couple of other books on reputation management. That's going to be largely online reviews. I wrote a book on social media marketing for restaurants, and my latest book with a series of other duct tape marketing consultants is on content marketing for local search. So what we're really going to spend the bulk of our time on, that's enough about me, right, is really focusing on the strategies that you can use to grow your painting business. There are numerous online marketing channels. The things that I think are really important, and we're going to hammer through these throughout this presentation, is having a website that converts. So it's not just enough to have a website. You really need to think through how your website is constructed, what the user experience is, and really build it in a way that is not only professional, but it also helps you get people want to contact your business. Search engine optimization. So there's SEO, which is organic search engine optimization. So this is where you do not have to pay Google to rank for search by advertising. There are pay-per-click ads, so those are like Google ads or Bing ads. And then there is the Google map listing, which is super, super important for any painting company. Social media. There are numerous social media platforms, and I think it's important to understand how you can leverage those. They are a really important driver for visibility and credibility and likableness and those kinds of things. Online directories, which is something that may not be super obvious for a lot of people, but these online directories send just really important signals to the search engines about the validity of the information about your business. And then last but not least, there are paid lead services. So Google actually has launched one of their own called Google Local Services Ads, and so we'll get to that here in just a minute. When you're thinking about online marketing, if you're going to be taking a comprehensive approach, which is what we recommend if your goal is to be found when people are doing searches online, you have to update your website for search engine optimization and conversion. So by conversion, I mean when somebody goes to your website, you want them to take some call to action. They may not be ready to buy from you quite yet. They may not want to contact your business, but they may be willing to give you an email address in return for you providing them a really valuable guide on how to prepare their home for painting, for example. And so as a result of that, you can capture their email address. You find out somebody's interested in looking at doing some painting, and hopefully that's going to help you stay top of mind. And then you can follow up with a series of emails and lead nurturing opportunities, or even phone calls to check in with folks if you captured their phone number. We're going to talk a lot about search engine optimization, so that's not only the stuff that you can do on your website, it's also how do you get links from other websites to link to your business, what type of content you need to be creating and whatnot. Optimizing your Google My Business page to show up on Google Maps, so we'll go through that. We'll talk about the importance of these directory or citation type sites and how you can take advantage of those, and the review process. Then we'll talk about social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube, I think, are probably platforms that are most common and most relevant for painting companies. I certainly would not overlook Pinterest as well. I think there's a lot of opportunity for Pinterest, but again, you don't want to bite off more than you can chew, and I think it's much more important to pick some channels that you're really good at and take advantage of those. Leveraging email marketing. Email marketing continues to be one of the most important tools in our online marketing arsenal to help stay top of mind and move people again through the buyer's journey from the time they're thinking about doing something until the time they pick up the phone and call you and have you come out and provide an estimate and have you win the job, basically. Then there are paid channels that you should be considering. That could be Google AdWords. They're actually now called Google Ads, or any other pay-per-click type strategy. Bing, Microsoft search engine, for example, has another option for pay-per-click. Online paid directories, so there are directories like Angie's List or Yelp or CitySearch where you can pay them to have a more prominent listing. And then there are paid lead services that you can take advantage of. And then, of course, the thing I love about online is you can measure and track almost everything. It may take a little bit of work sometimes to get it set up properly, but the great thing about it is you can see everything that is going on in your online presence. And I actually am a big believer that you need to use your online properties to help you measure and track the performance of your offline marketing strategies. So if you're doing a billboard, if you're doing a direct mail campaign, or running television or radio ads, or a flyer that you're leaving, if you do it right, you can track all of the activity and results through online means. So don't forget about that. So we're going to talk about the search engines. We're going to look at website and the type of content that you're really going to need to have on that, how you structure your site, the Google Map results as we talked about before. Inbound links, again, inbound links are when other websites link to your website. You linking to another website does not help your website rank necessarily, very much. It certainly is something you want to do, but it's not going to be the thing that's going to help you get your site ranked. You really want other websites that have credibility and trust with the search engines linking to your website. Doing social media, looking at the paid online marketing and advertising. Okay, so search engine optimization. Search results pages, we typically refer to those as the SERPs. And here's where we're going to get into a little bit of terminology. So you've got organic listings. As I mentioned before, the organic listings show up below the ads. They usually show up below the Google Map result. If the map is triggered, they will show up below the Google Maps. And that's where you're going to see other websites that people have written, top painting companies in a particular city, or even individual company websites are going to show up, and that's in the organic listing section. The Google Maps we've talked about, pay-per-click, where those show up on the on the search page results, and then this new thing called Google Lead Ads, which is working its way across different markets in the U.S., and I know for painters there are some markets where these are currently running. So let's take a look at an typical search result page. So these new ads that Google are running, and they're only available in certain markets for now, they're the rectangular shaped ads across the top with the Google Guarantee check beside them. So that's a new program that Google's launched over the last 18 months or so, maybe a little bit longer in certain markets. And what they're doing is that's a pay per lead strategy. It's not a pay per click strategy. That means that somebody can click on your ad, read about your business, until they fill out a form or place a phone call from your ad. You are not going to be billed by Google. So It's only a pay per lead type strategy, whereas a pay per click strategy is where you see those 3 listings below where it says ad beside them. If somebody clicks on that, they're going to cost that business money for that click, and that's actually calculated by a real-time auction, believe it or not. And so the price is going to vary from one click to the next. And then you've got the Google Map results, and you'll notice that this is at the very top of the search results page. So I now have to scroll to finish seeing the rest of the Google Maps before I even get an opportunity to see the organic listings. So while search engine optimization is really, really important, a lot of people are going to rely on the Google Map result to find a business. You're now typically seeing what we call a Google 3-pack. So there are 3 businesses listed in that result, and then you've got the organic listings below. And people. There are a lot of customers who ignore ads and go right past, to the map and below, because they know an ad is an ad, and they don't trust ads. They would rather trust the organic rankings and the map listings as they show up. But for some businesses, if you're not ranking in the organic listings, or even if you want to totally dominate the homepage of the first page of the search results, you want to have Google Ads, you want to be prominent on the Google 3-pack and the maps, and you want to have your organic listings here. So building out a website. So the typical painter website only has really like 3 to 5 pages. Maybe 10, but the reality is most painting websites are woefully thin when it comes to the amount of content that they have on their website for Google to even optimize to figure out how to present your website to a customer when they're doing a search. So what most businesses tend to miss is they don't have a page for each and every service that they offer, and they don't have a page for each city or sub-city that you serve. So if you're trying to rank to be found in St. Louis, there are a whole host of cities, probably 10, 15, 20 cities that have a big enough population to where you might want to think about trying to rank specifically for searches. There are different characteristics based on every geography, where there are some natural barriers just because of the way the landscape or the geography lays out. If somebody has to cross a river, that might influence who they choose to bring, and hire for their services. So every market is a little bit different, but this is going to be true in every market. You need to have a page for every service, and you need to have a page for every city that you want to serve and that you want to be found for when people are doing searches. You also want to think about how you are going to rank for the most common set of keyword phrases. So your city could go either first or last. These are actually considered to be different search phrases. So painting company, city name, and city name painting company are actually 2 different searches. So you do need to think about how you can be found for both of those. And then you need to think about the variety of how people search. So some people might search for a painting company. Some people might search for painters. They might search for interior painting or exterior painting or residential painting or residential interior painting. And so you really need to think about how people are searching. And we just know, just based on doing keyword research, that these are really common keyword phrases that people are using to find painting companies. So the typical painter website just has typically like a home and about us, a single services page where they list all of their services, but they do not have a page for each of their services. They might have a coupon, they may even have a little bit of a blog or a project portfolio, and a contact page. An SEO website is going to have a home page, all of those pages obviously, but then like I mentioned before, you're going to have subpages for each service. So city residential painter, city commercial painting, again, these are only going to pertain if you offer these services. So if you don't do commercial painting, obviously you wouldn't have a page on commercial painting. But if you do drywall, if you do plaster, wallpaper, all of those services, you need to have a page on your website, and that page has to have a decent amount of content, at least 300 words bare minimum, and really more like probably 500 words. And then you need to have a page for every subcity that you're working in. So if you're in a major metro area like Fort Lauderdale, there are some perimeter cities that you probably still want to rank for, like Coconut Creek or a place like that. So definitely think about the pages that you need to have on your website. Again, this is such a common problem that we see, and honestly, if you don't have content on your website, it just makes it really hard for Google to have your website show up for search. And honestly, this even impacts your ability to show up on the Google Map results. We'll talk about that here in just a minute. So you want to have more pages, the better. Here's just a screen snapshot I took of a painting company, and so they listed the cities that they service in South Florida. Every one of those blue cities, like Hialeah or Cutter Bay or Doral, those are all clickable, and so when you click on that, that's going to take you to a brand new page with unique content for each and every one of those pages, talking about the city that they serve and how they serve that city. And then you'll see, just as a drop down underneath, I'm not sure if this is commercial or residential on the drop down, but they actually list out their individual services for interior, exterior painting. Commercial interior painting, residential interior painting are potentially completely different search phrases that somebody might be using to try to find your company. So I know this seems monotonous, but it's really critical to have this content on your website. Your navigation, I'm a big fan of keeping your navigation clean. Preserve the space in the upper right hand corner of your website. Put your phone number there, and put one or two key pages that you want to have people go to. These are pages that I typically would say where you're going to have a call to action. So if you have a free consultation button, they can click that in the upper right hand corner. It'll take them to a page where they can fill out a form to request a consultation or an estimate. If you have a guide for them to download on how to, like I mentioned before, how to prepare your house for a painting project. And that way you can capture their email address. But that real estate in the upper right hand corner is absolutely super important. So keep it uncluttered. I tend to like to put much more navigation in the footer section of the website, which is at the very bottom, and that's where you can list a lot of your links. And then when you build your homepage out, and we've got a homepage checklist that talks about a lot of these things too. On your homepage, you want to have a long scrolling homepage that allows you to use story as a way to convey how you solve a customer's problem and how you have the credibility, authority, and trust to give them a plan that calls them to action to help them achieve the outcome that they want to achieve. And so when you're putting together a website, you want to think about your homepage design. You want to have information about who you are. People, if you're going to go into somebody's house or you're going to go onto their property, people want to know who those people are, and they want to know who you are. And so having pictures of your team, the owners, the core people that they might deal with from the office, all of that is really important for credibility and trust in the world of being a painting contractor. So this is really going to pertain largely to your homepage, and this is going to focus on what these elements of conversion. Putting the phone number in the upper right hand corner. This is a place where everybody expects to look for it. Like I mentioned before, with a key call to action, or maybe two, but no more than that. Have a positive hero image with a clear message that explains what you do. So what I mean by that is, at the very top of your website, there's usually a big, beautiful picture. A lot of websites right now have a slider. A slider is where you have pictures that automatically scroll and rotate from one picture to the next. You want to get rid of those. Those kill performance. They slow down your website, and as a result, anybody who's searching on a mobile device, Google actually is going to penalize a slow loading website. And so sliders have got to go. It's just time for them to go. You replace it with a positive image that shows somebody who has a successful experience working with your business, and a very clear message about what it is that you do. Be as crystal clear as you can. You've got 2 to 5 seconds to let your site visitors know what it is that you do, and if you're the right company to help them. And if they feel that when they get to your website, we call that the grunt test, then they're going to go down and read the rest of your page. Now, the reason I say you want to have a long scrolling homepage on your website is because not only do you want to have story elements, which are critical ways that we communicate about who we are and what we do and why we do it, and really can connect with prospective customers. When you think about how people use their phones, it's a lot easier to scroll than it is to click on a phone. And so the combination of using story as well as scrolling along a long page without having to click and go back and forth between pages to figure out what you do or how you might help somebody is really important from a mobile-friendly user experience. Calls to action, or a web form. So you don't actually have to have a form on your site, but you should have a button that says request a quote or schedule service, and then that button, when they click it, that could take them to a page where there's a form. But you definitely want to have those elements. You need to have your social media profiles on there. Make it super easy for people to click to go find your profiles. And then also incorporate these credibility and trust factors, online reviews and testimonials, certifications you might have, awards you might have. You saw the certifications that I showed you that I have and my company has at the beginning of this presentation. Those are all showing, that I've gone through and done certain things to build my credentials to have a deeper understanding of how I can deliver a service. Likewise, you guys probably have those things. It could be a member. It could be a member badge from your local chamber or Better Business Bureau. Could be, a top contractor from Angie's List badge. But those credibility factors are really important. In the footer of your website, you want to have your company name, address, and phone number, so that those elements show up on each and every page. You actually want that information to be done in a particular way for Google to index it, but we won't get too down into the weeds, but just suffice it to say that you need to have company name, address, and phone number. In the footer of your website, you need to have pictures of real pictures of customer projects and of your staff, or videos. Obviously, videos fantastic. Show them your team, your trucks, your branded apparel, whatever it takes. Just make it real and add personality and show off who it is that people are going to be working with when they decide to hire you, and explain why they should hire you. Here's one that a clear understanding of what the customer's problems are, including the internal ones. So what I mean by this is, if people have an external problem. I've got a room where the paint is peeling off the walls. Okay, so that's that's their external problem. It's causing them, issues because they see that each and every day. The internal problem is why people tend to buy, and this is based on emotion. So the external problem is kind of the why. The internal problem is emotion, and so they may be reluctant to call somebody to come in and paint the inside of their house because maybe the last contractor that they hired, they had a bad experience with them when they came into their house for whatever reason. Even though it has nothing to do with your business, if you're not explicitly talk about how you address those concerns, people who've had that experience may decide to not call your business and go with somebody else who does give them the feelings that they have that empathy and understanding. So we work with our clients quite a bit on really clarifying the message and focusing on the problems. Also keep in mind that people are typing in questions, expressing the problems that they're having more and more as the way they're typing in their searches, or they're speaking into their phones doing searches. And so understanding and actually developing a list of questions that people ask you is really important and it's great content for search engine optimization. Drive people to action, so if you have offers or incentives, certainly spell those out. We've talked about the mobile friendliness. Again, more than 50% of all searches are being done online, and that's only going to accelerate. And as we get more and more immersed in the smartphone era, fewer and fewer people are buying computers and relying on their smartphones to be able to, for all intents and purposes, replace their computer. And then make sure that you have an SSL certificate properly implemented. This is going to give you that HTTPS when you look in the browser bar up at the very top. When you look at the website domain, it'd be https://websitename.com. If you don't see that S there, if you're looking on most browsers, it's going to show that that's not secure, and that gives the customer a reason to doubt your business. And this is a really simple, easy fix, relatively easy fix. If you know how to do it, it's pretty straightforward, and it's really important to do. And actually, Google is penalizing sites that do not have the HTTPS in their domain name. So now we're going to talk about optimizing pages, what we call the on-site for search. So there are really a whole host of things that you want to do, and this is the thing that the best thing that you can control in terms of your website for your for SEO purposes. So a title tag. Title tag is I'll show you what that looks like here in just a minute, but it's a really important signal to the search engines to tell them what that page is about. An H1 tag, which is the title on the page. The title tag is the title of the page. The H1 tag, I kind of refer to it as the title on the page. You only want to have one of those, and that's a common mistake we see. People either don't have any or they have multiple. You will only have one. And then every image that you have on your website should have alt descriptions that tell Google what that picture is. Google can see there's a picture there. It doesn't know what it is. That's why you need the alt description on each and every picture. If you don't, then Google is going to see your website as being incomplete, and incompleteness implies that maybe there are other things that might be wrong with your website. And so I'm a big believer you don't give the search engines any reason to doubt your authority and your credibility. Anchor text. So this is where you would see an underlined piece of text on a page. When you click on it, it takes you to another place. Do that to link in between your pages, what we call internal links. That's great for SEO, but you also can do that to link out to an external website. Make sure you have an XML sitemap and you submit that to Google and to Bing, so that this is what's going to help those search engines know what content is on your site and how frequently you want them to crawl it. And then make sure you have all your tracking and analytics code installed so that you can measure and track everything. So here's what I mean by the site or the page title. So you can see Miami Painting Contractor, and then you have this vertical bar right here, and then it goes into house, whatever it says, and here's the beginning of the URL. So this is in the upper corner of the website, upper left-hand corner, and or on the tab if you have multiple tabs open. Sometimes you might need to hover over a tab to be able to read this, but it'll give you a little display of what that says as a little pop-up. This is a really big signal to the search engine, though, to help you understand what that, or help them understand what this page is about. And then you want to do it in a way that is optimized for SEO. So if you just list your company name, that's a missed opportunity from an SEO perspective. It's more important to state what you are, so which would be you are a Miami painting contractor, a house painting service in Miami. Those are things that people search for. They probably don't know your company name, and so they're not going to type in your company name for search unless, again, it was somebody who referred you. But if they're just doing a search to try to find a painting company or painting service, they're not going to probably type in your name. Here are just a couple more examples. So you can vary that based on starting with the city and then listing the service that you offer, having a variety of a different way that you phrase the service. So painting contractor versus commercial painting company, Atlanta drywall contractor, drywall repair Atlanta. These are semantically similar keyword phrases, and then you would follow that up with your company name. H1 tag. So when you look at a website, there are ways that you can see what the H1 tag is. So this is the title that's on your page. So if you were looking at a Word document, for example, and you were reading that Word document, there's going to be one thing that tells you what the title is, and everything else is a subtitle or a subheading. And so this is the primary thing that tells the search engines, in terms of the content on the page, what that page is about. Step 4, optimizing for Google Maps. So this is really prime territory that you need to try to get your business listed on. And so I show you an example of the Google Map result with the 3-pack. 3-pack just means that Google is returning results of 3 when people type in a search phrase of, for example, this could be painting contractor, Miami, Florida. And when you type that in, this is the search result page that you get, and this is just the zeroing in on the map section of that. So how do you get your Google My Business page ranked on Google Maps? So you really want to focus on getting these directories created. They provide these types of links called citations back to your website and to your Google My Business page. You want to get reviews. You want to make sure your Google My Business page, GMB, is optimized. You want to fill that out and be as complete and thorough as possible. And continue to add content and make regular updates to your Google My Business page. Take advantage of the Google My Business app. As you're working on a job, take a picture and post it to your Google My Business page. But when you look at the things that you need to do specifically to be found for local search to help you improve your opportunity to show up on the Google Map results. These are the three things that Google tells us that they care about: relevance, distance, and prominence. So the first thing you have to do is you have to claim your Google My Business page. So you can do that by going to google.com/business. Now in this, the first criteria that Google told us about was relevance. Relevance is what Google can know about your business from everything that it can find on the web. So that's going to be based on the content you have on your website. So you better have all of those services described in enough detail. Don't just have a bullet point or a short one-sentence description of each service. Have a page for every service. Pick your primary and secondary categories very, very carefully. If you're a painter, that's probably your primary category. If you do drywall installation, then, and that's your primary thing, then have your primary business category be the drywall category and use the Google category that's available to you. And when you start typing it in, Google's going to suggest to you what the category is that they have for you. So, and there are times when businesses don't have an appropriate category that pulls up, but painters are definitely going to drywall, wallpaper. Those are all going to have categories that are going to allow you to claim and attach to your Google My Business page. This is why the service area pages are so important, because again, that provides that extra content that just helps Google understand what your website's about. And it provides detail when you have these city pages we talked about to just validate you do business in the service area that you're telling Google you do business in on your Google My Business page. So the consistency of what you have and what you say on your website and how Google can understand that based on the information that you've provided in your Google My Business page is really important. Then you've got all of the data that is out there about your business from all these different directory sites. There are literally hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these. And they have bad data. They have incorrect phone numbers, they have incorrect addresses, incorrect company names, incorrect hours of operation. That all needs to be cleaned up. As Google or Bing are looking at those sites that they see as really credible, authoritative sites that have information about businesses on them, and they see that there's a lot of bad data out there, they don't have any confidence that anybody knows the right information about your business. So don't take that for granted. You've got to pay attention to the directory. And then other websites that are out there. There are a whole host of other websites. The PDCA website, for example, is really important to be listed on as a painting contractor. There are other associations. There are local chambers, websites, all of these things that you want to think about and get your business listed on and have that business have the right up-to-date information about your business on that website. Here's just a quick snapshot of just some of these directories, and this is just really a quick snapshot. There are literally 100 of these that are really probably super important to consider being on. You want to make sure you have your most accurate name, address, and phone number information on all of these. It really should be exactly the same to the extent that you can make that happen. There are some great management tools that will help you do this. You can do it manually. I wouldn't necessarily encourage that because entropy happens. All of these individual directory listings that send information about your business to your Google My Business page and to your website, they all have their own algorithm to calculate what information they think is the correct information about your business. And their algorithm is going to overwrite anything that you could put in there unless you're using a specific management tool to lock that down. So consistency with this concept of name, address, phone number, that's what we refer to as NAP, is really, really critical. These directories carry a lot of authority in the eyes of the search engines because they are information about business. That's why these sites exist. And so as a result, the search engines trust them, but also your customers trust them. So if your customers find your business listing on a site like CitySearch or Manta or Yelp, they're going to look at that and they're probably going to say, okay, here's the phone number I need to call, and if that phone number is not correct, they're going to have a negative impression about your business. So make sure that you don't create any opportunity for that to happen. The more that you can get listed on all of these different sites is generally the better. And duplicates are out there. There are, you can have one site can have multiple listings for your business, and that bad data can really confuse the search engines. So definitely pay attention to that and fix that stuff. Capture positive reviews. Google reviews are king. They are the things that are one of the most important things to help you show up on the Google Map results. This gets into this idea of prominence that Google talked about. The other was distance. So we didn't talk about distance, so let me talk about that for just a second. Distance is going to be factored in based on probably a 3 to 5 mile radius. Even though you can specify a 25, 50 mile radius of what your service area is on your Google My Business page, the reality is you're probably not going to show up on that Google Map result for anything outside of 3 to 5 miles. And so distance is going to come into play based on the location settings of when people do a search on a phone. If they type in that specific city with the service that they're looking for, is going to dictate the result of what they see on the Google Map results. So just be aware of that. Now, in terms of reviews, there are a lot of different sites that you can get reviews captured for. But if you want to be found for Google searches, Google Maps is the most, your Google My Business page, and showing up on Google Maps as a result is the most important review site that you could get your customers to write reviews on. Positive reviews drive activity. When somebody reads a positive review, they take action. And, they're almost as trustworthy, if not as trustworthy, as recommendations from friends and family members at this point. Optimizing your Google My Business profile. So, again, just fill out the information, add pictures, add video. Don't use stock photos. Use your own real photos. Add pictures of your staff, your team. Describe the services that you offer. There's a place for that. There's a place where you can define the service area where you're going to go to work at your customers' locations. You want to be as thorough as possible and keep updating this and keep it up to date. Make regular updates. You can upload pictures and change those on a regular basis. Google now has a post feature where you can go to your Google My Business page and create an offer or a special, or have a link to your blog post, or just post a short little status update. And these are starting to show up in search results now. Make sure you respond to each and every review that somebody gives you on your Google page, whether it's positive or negative. If it's positive, thank them, express why it was a joy to work with them. If it's a negative review, take it offline, take the conversation offline, but write a response to say something to the effect of, "We're sorry you didn't have a great experience. Our business takes your feedback very seriously, so we would love for you to contact us at this phone number or at this email address." They may not take action on that. They may have gotten what they needed by writing that review. You don't want to get into this discussion that could escalate and turn really negative and get really ugly. You do want to take it offline. But the other thing is, everybody else who's reading these reviews and seeing that you're responding and acknowledging that maybe somebody was less than satisfied and you're working to try and make it better, that's all they need to see. They want to know that you're paying attention, that you're trying to work with a customer to give them the best possible experience. Inbound links, so step 5. So this is where you're going to get links from other websites linking to your website, and this is probably 60 plus 70% of the weight of the SEO factors when you add them all together. And so there are lots of different places that you can get links and authority. You can get links from an association website, from an industry type site like Home Advisor. You could get some traffic driving there from Facebook or social media platforms, local chambers, apps on phones, but most importantly probably other blogs and other companies that are writing blog posts, and they see that you wrote a really interesting article and they decide to link to your article, which lives on your website, from their article that they're putting on their website. That builds an inbound link that Google sees, and all of those add up, and the more that you have, generally the better, but they have to be legitimate links for real content reasons. If people are just linking to each other back and forth just because you're friends, that doesn't help at all. So you also want to use a tool to analyze your links and realize that not all links carry the same weight. So in this case, we're looking at the analysis of a tool, and you can see this happens to be Ahrefs. So the DR stands for domain ranking, and Ahrefs has their ranking criteria that they associate with it. And these are just factors that tell you the higher the numbers are under the DR column, the more Google assigns a weight to them. Looks like I must have had a duplicate slide in here. Okay, now we have content, which is one of my favorite topics, and it's also a topic of an upcoming book I've got hopefully out here very soon. Content is so important on your website. So we talked about the service area pages, we talked about the services pages. You also need to have informative, educational, and entertaining content on your website. These are usually done with blogging. You can have project descriptions, and project portfolios on your website to show examples of your work. That's all educational, and so it also means that every time you're creating a new piece of content, you're giving Google and the search engines another reason to come crawl your website and another opportunity to help you rank for another keyword phrase. When you write and create content, you also have to optimize it, so you have to go through an SEO process to get it, like we talked about, the title tag, the H tag, the alt description for your pictures, the internal links, all of that stuff. And then you need to promote it, so you need to push it out through social media, or we typically set up a content distribution network. Whenever somebody writes a new piece of content for that website, it's automatically published to key sites across the web. And so by doing that, it increases the visibility and opportunity to find that piece of content, which increases the likelihood that they're going to read it and also link to it. And building those links is a really important thing. And the best way to do that is to create content. People will link to your content when you provide them really good content. Social media. So social media is a great way to get visibility. It's a great way to get people referring you and talking about your business, and therefore probably helping you stay top of mind and get more repeat business. You don't want to tackle every one of these social media platforms all at once, but I think it's important to have at least your profile claimed on each and every one of them, even if you're not particularly active on all of them. I would pick probably 2 and really zero in on those, maybe 3. I think Facebook is an important platform. Instagram is a very important platform, I think, because it's such a visual platform, as is Facebook now. And YouTube is also one to consider. But don't forget about Pinterest or Twitter. Twitter is a real powerhouse when it comes to continuing to drive links back to your website and increase the visibility and findability of your site, because people share content an amazing amount through Twitter. So you want to leverage your email database and ask them to like and engage with your business online on social media. You want to consistently provide status updates. Be real. I mean, have information about your business. Make it local. Make it interesting to people. If you're donating to a charity, or you're taking a table at a trivia night for a charity, post pictures and talk about that, and talk about the value of what that charity can bring to the community. People love that stuff. Change your profile picture or your cover photo on your social media platforms. Visual content gets such fantastic engagement and response levels. Video content is the top performing piece of content or type of content typically on most of these channels. And then another reality is, because everybody is now on social media, in order to maintain visibility and be easy to find, you probably need to think about advertising to expand your reach. But the great thing about that is you can use a whole host of fantastic targeting criteria, from demographics to the things that people like or are interested in, to get your content in front of the right people. And it's because it's not intention oriented, it's more awareness and engagement oriented. It's a lot cheaper. And by intent, I mean Google Ads typically excel in the area of intent, because when somebody is ready to buy, they're going to type in a phrase like city name, painting contractor. That means that they are actively looking for a painting contractor that they can reach out and do something with. But if they're on social media, they may be looking for ideas and colors, and trends on interior design, and therefore, the colors that they might want to paint, a particular room in their house. So the platforms are different, but the advertising on social media platforms, and Facebook in particular, can be really, really powerful. So now segmenting into, we just talked a little bit about Facebook advertising. It can be really laser focused, and it can be really powerful, and you can actually move people from awareness to consideration to conversion very effectively with a Google ad campaign when you structure that properly. But when you're talking about the world of searches, people are going to go to Google or Bing, and they're going to type in a search for a painting company in a city. Google ads are king. 66% of all searches are done on Google, but Bing delivers search results for both Bing and Yahoo search engines. So it's going to have a solid 15 to 20% of searches. So don't necessarily ignore that, but again, manage your time and your effort wisely. And if you can only pick one, unless there's a real strong reason why you would go with Bing ads over Google, I would almost always look at Google first. Instagram, actually, that platform from an advertising perspective is managed through the Facebook advertising facility, because Facebook owns Instagram. YouTube ads can be fantastic. YouTube ads are owned by Google. Google owns YouTube, and so that could be a fantastic strategy to get in front of people. Again, on the paid social advertising, it's typically a lot cheaper than a pay-per-click type model. And then the paid lead services, so this could be using a third-party service, could be using the Google local display or local services ads. And then there are these ads that you can run on certain websites that are banner ads that will display, and and so Google has a very robust display network. And again, because it's awareness and less about people taking action, it's to help you stay top of mind. Those Google display ads are usually a lot less costly. So why people fail with their pay-per-click campaigns? Usually it's because they set up only one ad group and they try to drive everything about their business to that one, from that one ad to the homepage on their website. Google wants you to be really specific, and it wants the ad copy, the headline, and the place that you're driving people to on your website to all be about that one specific thing that you're advertising. So if you're advertising interior painting services, don't drive them to a home page and make them work to find what page they need to go to read about how you do interior painting. Take them right to the interior painting page. That's a huge mistake. Don't having negative keywords set up. So painting jobs, most of you probably don't want to pay on Google money when people are clicking on those ads if they're looking for employment. You might, but make sure that that's why you're running the ad, and be prepared to pay for it for the right reason and not accidentally. Having a strong call to action, so if you do a good job and you get people onto a page on your website, you don't ask them to take that next step. Schedule a free estimate or download a guide to help them make a decision about why they should hire a painting company. And like I said, don't just drive them to the home page or a general contact page. Google Ads is it can be fairly complex, and Google tries their best to make it really easy for you to set up and launch an ad, and they give you these coupons for $100 off or $125 off, but they don't set your expectations about what you need to have in terms of budget. And if you accept Google's recommendations on how you set up your ads, you're going to waste a lot of money on your ads. So I would really recommend that you work with somebody who understands the way Google Ads are set up to take advantage of the power of Google Ads, because they are very, very powerful, and also not waste a ton of money on ads that are not relevant for your business. Google operates on this thing called a quality score, which is based on the click-through rates of your ads. So your ads are going to be displayed on a regular basis if you're paying enough. When people see the ad as it's displayed, but they're not clicking on it, Google factors that in. It factors that in terms of whether or not they think the ad is relevant to the search that somebody did to actually pull up the search results and the ads on that page. They want to see what happens when people go from clicking on the ad to your website. What do? Do they stick around? Do they stay on the site? Do they take a call to action by clicking or making a phone call or requesting a consultation or a free estimate? All of those things factor in. I'm not going to get a whole lot into this because we're already running a little bit over time. But you can actually if you have a higher quality score than a competitor, you can actually have your ad display in a more prominent position in the ad displays and cost you less money because you have a higher quality score. And the quality score ranges from 1 to 10, and 10 being the optimum. And so you can actually have your ad displayed if you have a really high quality score. If you're paying the same price as a competitor and their quality score is 4 and your quality score is 8. Basically, the goal is to get these higher quality scores, which comes down to reference and or relevance, continuing to manage and optimize and tweak the performance of your campaigns on an ongoing basis. It's not just like you can set it and forget it and hope that everything's going to be good for the long haul. It may be good enough for a period of time, but you really need to be actively managing Google ad campaigns. Measuring and tracking everything. So this is really an amazing thing about online marketing. There's tracking code. It's a little creepy, I'll be honest, but it's also very powerful from a marketing perspective and from a business owner perspective, because you can really start to understand how you're spending your money and how that's delivering a return on investment, whether that's using online tracking to measure offline campaigns like we talked about. As an example of that would be if you did an every door direct mail campaign and you sent it to 3,000 households. Provide a custom URL, a specific page that you want to drive people to, and the reason that they're going to that page is because you're sending them that every door direct mail piece. Now you can see how many people went to that page specifically, and that they're probably only getting to that page because you gave them that specific URL in the mailing piece that you sent out to them. And now you can say, okay, well, when I sent this piece of direct mail out, I got 30, 50, 10, 5 visitors to this web page. And now you can make a business decision. Was that a good investment or not? And don't judge it just by doing one single mail piece to one household. I mean, keep in mind, marketing requires multiple touches, typically 7 or more touches, to get people to take action with your business. So don't just write it off, just if you did a one-time campaign, but measure and track everything. So we've talked about a ton of things, and so I hope that this has been really helpful for you. We've gone from search engine optimization and website, talking about the Google Maps, how you think about getting inbound links from other websites to your website, how you can take advantage of using social media. One thing I didn't talk about with social media is every time we write a blog post, we build a social media campaign to continue to post about that blog post throughout for an entire 12-month period to drive traffic continually back to that blog post and get people onto your website. There are really powerful tactics that if you integrate these things in together and have a comprehensive integrated digital marketing strategy, these things amplify off of each other. I've done a lot of work in the in the Department of Defense as an IT contractor in a past life years ago, and you've probably heard this phrase, a force multiplier. When you do things in conjunction with one another from an online marketing perspective, when your website and your social media and your advertising strategies are all woven together, you get an amplification or an uplifting quality to that is really powerful. So we've talked about a ton of things. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions, but I did want to ask you one question. What are you going to do about all of this? You could choose to do nothing and just maintain the status quo. You could learn how to do it on your own. I'll be honest with you, I spend hours and hours and hours and tens of thousands of dollars keeping me and my team up to speed with all of the changes of this stuff. You could hire somebody in-house, but if you can only afford to hire one person, they're probably only going to be good at one thing. Or you can hire an expert where they have an understanding of all of these things, and you can tap into a virtual team that operates in conjunction with your team or on behalf of your team with all of the right knowledge to really take advantage of the full range of opportunities for online marketing. So if you'd like for us to do this for you, I'll tell you a little bit about the way we work. We only work with one client in each region for our search engine optimization packages. The reason for that is we don't want to compete with ourselves and therefore our clients. So we can't help two clients, in all honesty and in good faith, compete in the same geographic market for the same set of services. So if you're a residential contractor in a particular city, we can only work with one of you in that city, and by city, I don't just mean, a suburb. I mean, surrounding cities, 10 or 15 suburbs, or the main primary metropolitan area name. Another thing that you can do is you can have us take a look at your online presence. We do this thing called a total online presence audit, where we'll take a look at your website, your SEO, your keyword rankings, how effective your content is, what your competitors are doing, what you're doing on social media if you're taking advantage of that or missing opportunities, and give you a set of recommendations based on the information we find. We normally charge $7.99 to do that, but on this, as a part of this webinar, we're happy to do that for you and take advantage of this offer for just $3.99. But you got to act quickly. This offer will expire, and so you can go to painterseo.com/start, and that's where you can find the information and a video that explains what we do and how we do it and what benefit you're going to get from it. So again, we offer a 100% money back guarantee on this. So if you don't like what you got, we give you your money back, no questions asked. We would ask for your feedback though, so you could help us understand what we didn't do right, so that we can correct that moving forward. And then if you do decide to move forward with us and hire us to do the SEO services for you, then we're happy to take that investment and apply it to your first month, toward your first month of SEO services. So with that, I want to thank you so much for your time. And again, my name is Ken Tucker. Here are the ways that you can get a hold of me. You've got my website, you've got my phone number, my email address, and my social media handle, where you can find us on Facebook or Twitter. And of course, we've got the Painter SEO website as well, which is a resource for all of our painting customers. So once again, thanks very much. I really appreciate your time. I hope you found this to be very helpful.